Okay, I had two things go wrong with my car, both that were safety issues. One of them is that my headlight was off, and it had been going off and on for a long time till it finally just went completely off. I had the bulb replaced, and it wasn't that because it went off and didn't come back on. So I'm going to talk about that first. See here? See this connection? My engine is off. My hood is secured. So make sure you do this safely. I pulled this out. Don't be afraid to do that. And I cleaned off this, just made sure there wasn't anything there. And see on this side, there's all these wires coming out. I just made sure that the connections were secure. So I pressed them in and pushed and, made them nice and tight and secure. So once I did that and I was satisfied that everything looked good and everything looked like it was connected where it should be, I just pressed it back in. Took me no time at all. So then I said, okay, we're going to test it. Ta-da! So now I have a headlight. Free. Took me about 2 seconds to do that. So it's sometimes you just have to dive right on and do. And eventually I'm going to have to replace that part. It's an old car. But for now, I have a headlight. And the next thing I had to do, while I was under here, I thought, well, let's see about this other problem I'm having. And the other problem, see how I have fluid in my windshield wiper thing? Well, what had happened was I was driving down the road, something hit my windshield, and when I went to clean it off, it didn't clean off. No water came out. No motor sounds came out. Only my windshield wiper worked. So I had to pull off to the side of the road and pour bottled water on it. That's a big safety hazard. If I'd have been on the interstate, I'd been in trouble. So see all these wires here? Again, old car, old parts. So what I did was, again, as I did with the headlight, I fiddled with the wiring. I said, is it connected here? Is everything all connected? Do I have my wires connected? Is there any wire that's stuck out? And I made sure that everything was connected properly, and I pushed all these wires out of the way. So everything looked good and connected, and I pressed in, made sure that the connections were nice and secure. And then I turned on the windshield wiper cleaner. I heard the motor sounds, which was great, but no water. So when I came out, I noticed there was water all over my engine here. So I said, well, where's it coming from? Well, if you look from here to here, look, there's a tubing here, and that runs down up in here. That's going to go from your windshield wiper fluid. Let me get this for you. See that tubing? See? And I just followed it up. I was like, aha. This tubing was pulled out and was just lying down in the engine. So I just picked it up and pushed it on there just as hard as I could. I pushed it on there. It's nice and secure. I'm not going to pull it off because I have it nice and secure and I want to leave it that way. So real easy. That's where the tubing goes, where the water comes out and goes into here and into here. There's two of these, and this is where your water comes out. So let's give it a little test. Here we go. Ta-da! Yes, of course it works because I did it yesterday, just as I did with the headlight. So, two very easy fixes. I now won't have a safety issue of my headlight being out or of no water coming out of here if I have something on my windshield. Just get in under your hood and look. Do it safely, but just look. Maybe it's just a loose wire. Maybe it's just some little part that you could figure out how to replace. Maybe you get lucky like I did and just press some wires in, find a loose connection, and you are good to go, and it is free. Not a dime was spent. And that's always a good thing if you're on a tight budget. So, or even if you're not, if you just like to save a few pennies. So that's my lesson for today. And I'll see you at the Lonely Woman's Galaxy blog in just a second. Oh, and while I'm at it, I'm also going to tell you about when my check engine light came on and why. When I was spraying the water here, when the disconnection, it hit a sensor and made my check engine light come on. So I'll tell you about that on the blog, though. That was also free. Bye.